Chicago, so that whole region. I don't know a single counterparty that does what you do. I'm trying to learn more about it. So I hear families bring it up, and I hear people like you bring it up and making progress. So just let me know whenever you guys are trying to, if you're going to start doing online related positioning or advertising or some podcast or any feedback on some new marketing initiative. I think I might be able to provide some feedback on that.
Okay.
Or something family office related. I live my email. Feel free to shoot me over an email sometime. Happy to help.
Okay, great. So we're going to get started, and our show, we've got hard breaks. There's 5 segments, and so it's like 8 minutes. The first 2, actually the first 3 looks like are just 8 minutes and change.
Actually 7:10, 8:28, 7:40, 9:19.
7:10 on the first one.
So 7:10, and then 8:28,
8:28,
7:40,
7:40,
9:19, and 5:10.
9:19,
Yeah.
5:10.
So if we accidentally interrupt you during a time, it's just because we have to cut to a break. So don't take it personally.
Concise answers if you guys want me to talk more. I always can.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
and what I'm thinking, Richard, is that we would probably do 3 segments, and then we've got stuff for the remaining 2. So typically, when we have a guest on, we'll obviously it'll be easy on the intro. You'll understand. You'll hear me announce you. I'll do a quickie bio that I again pulled off your website. We'll start asking. We'll welcome you, and then ask, and then we'll just start. It'll be very conversational, and then. But I think probably after the end of the third, when we cut to commercial again, we'll let you go, and then I'll follow up with you after we get it recorded, so that if you want to have that or link to it or make that available in any format that you want, when we upload it to our website, it usually has. It's the full show with the introductory music, intro, outro, commercials, everything, and
Sure.
Full show.
Things sound official.
it does, yeah, it
Like
does.
that on my podcast. It seemed like it was a real radio show.
Right.
Exactly.
Brand interviewing me.
And so what I'm going to do is I'll start the show with an intro, and then I'll say, Mark, why don't you introduce our guest?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. You guys ready? All right. Here we go. Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing. I'm your host, Edward Brown, and I'm proud to have as my co-host Mark Hunt of Pacific Private Money, one of California's fastest growing mortgage investment firms. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Use that number to answer the trivia questions for a few prizes given away during this show. And these prizes are not sponsored by the radio station, but by Tan Bella Tanning Salon with 2 locations in San Francisco and 1 in Marin. Today's trivia theme is random trivia. Check us out on bestofinvesting.com. Mark, you want to introduce we have a special guest today.
We do. So for those of you out there that are out raising capital, and especially if you're a real estate investor, as Edward and I are, you're always looking for capital resources. So on today's show, we've got a special guest, Richard Wilson from the Family Office Club. In fact, Richard is the founder of Family Office Club, the largest membership-based family office association. Since 2007, the organization has served as an educational resource to members of the family office community, including those who raise capital from family offices. The club has fostered a valuable peer network, hosting a wide array of industry events that bring together family offices with money to invest and those who seek to raise capital for their business ventures. Richard, welcome to the Best of Investing.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
So, Richard, explain to the audience, what exactly is a family office, and why would anyone who raises capital want to know about them?
Sure. So a family office is really a wealth management system in place for someone who's ultra wealthy. If you're worth $10,000, you might not need a wealth advisor. If you're worth $1 million, you might need a retail wealth advisor. You can walk down to your local Bank of America or Chase Bank. But if you're worth $100 million, you might not want to walk down to your local retail bank or use a normal wealth manager, because they might not be used to dealing with the fact that you have 50 LLCs or 20 different real estate interests, or real estate in multiple countries, etc. So the more wealthy you are, the more things that could go wrong, and the more you need to kind of holistically be managing your wealth, like a full balance sheet wealth management solution.
And so, how did you get the idea to form the Family Office Club? How did that come about?
I started meeting with family offices in 2006 and 2007, and what I realized is that these groups are serving the ultra wealthy. wealthy is that meeting one of them could mean a lot more capital raised than meeting with a wealth management firm. So just one of their clients might have $50 million in liquidity at any one point in time. And then when I tried to learn more to make it a good use of my time, the counterparty's time, and meeting with the family office to try to raise capital from them, I realized nobody was providing any thought leadership, any education, any helpful resources for me at all. So I started out just selfishly wanting to learn more, so be more effective at meeting with them, finding them, and raising capital from them. But very quickly, it just kind of spiraled up, and by putting resources out there publicly about what I was learning about working with family offices and raising capital from them, we drew a lot of attention, and it's just kind of became a centerpiece of the industry for thought leadership of family offices.
Well, I got to give you a little shout out to the Wilson Holding Company, of which you're president, because a month or so ago, Mark and I went to Miami, and there had to been, 300 people there?
There were a lot of people there. In fact, what was really interesting, Richard, is that we met a lot of people who were real estate entrepreneurs looking to raise capital for their real estate investments. In fact, a lot of them were like multifamily and doing other types of syndications, and they were there to meet many of the family office representatives that you had invited to this organization. Would you say that real estate is a large component of family office investment strategies?
For sure. We did a benchmark study of family offices, and we found that 75% of them are invested in real estate, and what they do, they think of about 25% of their portfolio as something that most families like as a hard asset. They can get to diversification. And importantly, when you think about raising capital for family offices, you have to remember one relationship could mean a game-changing event for your business or for your independent sponsorship team or your fund. And so it's not like you need to go out and pray and talk to 1,000 people and convert 200. It's more like, talk to 200 and convert, 4. And so you really don't need that many successes to at least get some momentum and then kind of prove the concept on family office capital raising.
Well, one of the great things about the Family Office Club, I'll share with the audience, is that the Wilson Family Office Club does sponsor quite a few events. In fact, Richard, I was really surprised at just how many events you have throughout the country. Now, I know you're based out of Florida, so you are a little bit weighted to the East Coast, but I really enjoyed the 2 trips that I've taken out there in the last 6 months to attend 2 of your organizational events, and I'm looking forward to attending at least 1 or 2 this year. You work with both sides of the coin. You help those who either have a family office or are wealthy enough to where they would benefit from knowing about family office resources, as well as those people like Edward and I, who are continually on the hunt to raise capital for our particular business endeavors. Is that true?
Yes, it's true. I think it's a misconception that investors are, hiding or trying to be hard to find. The reality is these families want more deal flow. They just want it to be high quality deal flow, and they want it to be filtered and focused on what's their current headache. And so for me, that means 2 things. One, being kind of a translator of what each party wants. At the events, you can see we usually ask people on the discussion panel, what's your strike zone? What are you trying to invest in? What do you need more access to? And then they tell the audience, we're looking to invest in A, B, and C, or we're only investing in this right now. And that way they get relevant deal flow from the audience. We try to make it easier to get real business done. But also, I think that someone else is like find resources when they have a specific type of headache or a migraine. They want Excedrin. They don't maybe want 5,000 cold calls in per day. So we always try to advise people to build genuine expertise and share that thought leadership so people can find you and know you and keep you top of mind when it does come to allocating the multifamily.
Okay, and Richard, stay with us for a minute. We got to cut to a quick commercial break. Okay, here's our first trivia question. What baseball team was known as the Gas House Gang? The first caller with the correct answer wins a free certificate of Tan Bella. Call 888-912-1190 to answer this question. What baseball team was known as the Gas House Gang? Don't touch that dial. The Best of Investing will be right back. All right.
Perfect.
Okay, so that's the first segment there. I'm going to save the file, and then we'll start off with segment 2.
That was great, Richard.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back with a question about, how would a person, prepare? What should a person do to prepare themselves for meeting with a family office representative.
Sure.
That's kind of based on a question I get a lot. People, rehabbers and flippers call me thinking that we do 100% financing, and in fact, that's why I ended up writing that my book that I called the Insider's Guide to Attracting Private Money. It was a short book written for my flipper clients and those who kept calling me how they can go out and raise their own equity capital and then leverage that with the loans that we provide.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Great. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. What else do I got here?
I figured I'd just let you ask the questions, and I can always jump in.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I've got like 5 steps in my capital raising book on like how to approach capital raising for family offices. So
Yes, I have that one.
question to kind of jump into that, just go through it really quick. Like a 2-minute version of what the 5 steps are.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be a good way to answer
Okay.
the question I'll ask you.
You guys ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Well, welcome back to The Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hahn of Pacific Private Money, my co-host. Here was the first trivia question. What baseball team was known as the Gas House Gang?
You got to ask me recent baseball
No, this
questions.
is an old one. This goes back to like
I
the
don't
1930s.
know the answer to that.
Richard, you know the answer to that?
I'm going to pass on that one.
Okay, the St. Louis Cardinals. Daffy Dean and Dizzy Dean and all that. Okay, remind the audience, Mark, who's on the phone?
So we're on the phone with Richard Wilson, founder and president of Family Office Club, and Richard's organization helps to facilitate meetings between those wealthy families with large sums of money, sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars, who have put together companies, essentially, known as family offices, to invest that capital. And of course, we're here in the Silicon Valley, and we know of lots of people who have sold companies and made, say, $100 million. They don't necessarily have all that money invested. Oftentimes, they're selling stocks. They're looking to redeploy that capital and diversify. And of course, Edward and I, on The Best of Investing, we talk about real estate investing and mortgage investing all the time. So we're always on the hunt. So we're excited to have Richard here and talk some more about how to approach family offices. So Richard, the next question I have for you is, how should one prepare themselves for a meeting with either a family office representative, or if they're going to one of your events where there are a number of family offices and family office representatives are there looking for opportunities to invest capital? How does one prepare themselves for that?
Well, 2 quick answers, and then a little longer of an answer, but quick ones are, always come prepared. A lot of people don't ask questions. They get in front of the family office and they pitch. A lot of people don't do a lot of research beforehand, so just getting to know investors' preferences before you enter the room is a huge advantage. It shows you care about the time you're taking up their calendar because they're all very busy. And then also doing things in the long term, perspective, like hard sailing, fake headline type, pushing this will just shut you off and say, I don't need that noise on my radar, and they'll just shut you out of their world if you seem like too much of a hardcore salesperson. So those are 2 quick answers. But after hosting these capital raising boot camps we do for 10 years now and working with family offices for that long, we've realized that the approach we've taken has attracted over 1,500 family offices to register with us, and we have signed contracts with a dozen $100 million plus families to help them in formalizing their family offices. Is really 5 simple steps I can explain real quick that just shows our whole approach. One is to analyze the marketplace and see what competitors are doing in your niche space, whether it's multifamily or hospitality, etc. And then 2 is to really architect, how you're going to fit into that and how you're going to iterate the way that matters to the target investor you're trying to attract. And then 3 is to really position yourself and build up your positioning so it's defensible, like this radio show and writing a book, as I know you've done, Mark, etc., and making it harder for other people to enter the sandbox you position yourself in. And then step 4 is really executing, and just focus on the excellence with an execution, and iterating the strategies to get investor feedback. And the reason I say that instead of just giving a 2-word answer or something else more generic is that family offices like to find the best expert, most credible person to work with for a niche area. They don't want to work with a generalist. They want to work with someone who's got a niche, unique idea, and they understand how they make money. I think that's just really important, and often missed by those that are looking to raise capital and do investment marketing.
That is a great explanation, Richard. In fact, I really liked in the beginning when you said, when you're talking about, when you're pitching, avoid the hardcore sales tactics such as false deadlines, etc. And I know that to be true. In my own experience, I have found that we've been incredibly effective at raising capital when you're authentic and you explain your business model, but you're really not selling. It's attraction rather than promotion.
Yeah, there's no like a impulse buy. You got to get in now, or else it's going to close.
Right.
So how does someone determine whether they are a fit with any particular family office, or is there really any way to do that in advance?
As we talked about right before we started the show, I think local is important when it comes to real estate. Understanding the market definitely is going to help you. Someone who's local is just going to know and be more comfortable with a real estate investment. They're familiar with the area. Second thing is families that you don't have to move all the way up the learning curve. If you're raising capital for something like warehouses or something, like self-storage or something more exotic, you want families to have some exposure or understanding of it. People will invest in things that they don't understand. Those are two things that I would work on first. And then third, I think that people like to invest through referrals. So when you don't have any family office investors, what do? It's catch-22. You can't rely on referrals. So you have to create those referrals with intellectual property assets, white papers, podcast interviews, radio interviews, TV appearances, books, webinars, live events, speeches at nonprofit, high net worth communities. And you really have to layer on like being part of 4 to 5 different ultra wealthy type communities, like living in an ultra wealthy community or like being on a board, etc. So I think it's a combination of those things which will lead to like the right, type of mixture. And it's just, good luck and good fortune is going to come your way with those family offices every week that are coming towards you instead of you chasing them and then having them not respond to your voicemails and email.
Right. So Richard, I don't want to forget to give you an opportunity to talk about the Family Office Club. How does someone find out more information about your organization, join as we have your organization? Where do they go?
It's really simple. It's just familyoffices.com. And there you'll see all of our events coming up. We're constantly updating that. We've got a free ebook on the website. If you're a podcast listener, you have something with a very creative name, the Family Office Podcast. If you're a paperback book reader, we've got the most popular book in the industry called Single Family Office. And I can find that on Amazon under that same title by Richard T. Wilson. So those would be the easiest ways. We give away 100 times more free through familyoffices.com than we charge money for at the event. So I encourage people to check it out, even if they don't think they're an event person or a book person. Hopefully our videos on YouTube at least would be helpful in getting them started.
And I can share with the audience as a member that you've got a slew of podcasts, you have spreadsheet material, you've got all kinds of downloadables, readables, listenables, and for that monthly fee, if I'm not mistaken, that allows you to attend any of the family events, family office events that you sponsor. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, you're probably doing a better job.
Well, I got to say, one of the events that I went with Mark, I mean, I was very impressed with the networking, just for the people.
The networking is stellar.
But just events. Between all of us. Tell you what, Richard, stay with us for one more segment. We just have to, you know how it is. The station says, "Hey, you got to cut for a break." We got to cut for a break. All right, here's our next question: what type of wool can come from a rabbit? All right, now so we know like
minks come from these questions?
I know these are very random. All right,
Trivia 101.
Yeah, that's right. Call 888-912-1190 to answer that question. Don't touch that dial because the best of investing is going to be right back. All right.
Good.
All right. Segment number 2.
All right. Your energy level holding up after your long day, Richard?
Yeah, no, this is fine. I like it when it's conversational and not too rigid.
That's what we forgot to say. Usually our intro is it's like a bunch of guys sitting around a bar having drinks without the drinks, talking business.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's real good. Okay. When is your next event? I'm trying to remember from the calendar I looked at the other day. You got something coming up?
Yeah, February 17th, we got our single family office summit in New York. Then in April, we're booking the dates. Tomorrow, literally, I think it is. And it's going to be in April in Miami is our real estate event. And then we're doing an emerging manager event in June. And in May, capital raising boot camp in Houston. So pretty much, we're trying to do 10 events this year. And,
Wow.
hopefully 12 next year as we expand to another city. So for sure, we're just trying to, like you guys, keep up with the flow and get rid of bottlenecks as they arise in different places.
Yeah, so I really wanted to go to the February event, but I've got a conflict there, so that's really what I'm looking forward to later on in the year. Okay, let's go.
Ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Edward Brown here, along with Mark Hahn. Second trivia question was, what type of wool can come from a rabbit?
All right, you stumped me twice.
Stumped you twice. Richard, you know the answer to this one?
No.
Angora.
That's right,
Okay.
Angora wool.
Angora wool.
Hopefully one of
Okay.
our listeners will get that one right.
That's right.
So we're talking with Richard Wilson, founder of the Family Office Club, and we talked about family offices are essentially organizations created around a super wealthy family. And so for those of us in the Bay Area, you can imagine someone who created a company and maybe sold it for $100 million or even more in this day and age. And how do they manage that money? And oftentimes they diversify the types of investments they make. They don't necessarily keep it in stock in the company they founded. Oftentimes they will sell off a significant portion of that monies and reinvest it. And Richard, since we're talking about family offices, I want to go back a little bit, take a step back. How is a family office different from, say, a holding company or a wealth management solution?
Sure. Yeah, so there's types of family offices. There's a full family office. Like say I had lunch with a $50 million net worth family, sold their business to private equity, and they're forming a single family office now. So we're helping them get that in place for got a $2.3 billion single family from South Florida here that's setting up a family office as well. So that's different in a multifamily office, which is essentially a wealth management firm that only works with clients that are worth 10 million, 20 million. They might set their threshold at 50 million or higher. So it's just a more holistic wealth management firm. They're going to do more heavy trust estate work and planning, more detailed work there, pay more attention to legal structures and insurance, and most importantly, centralize the management of that. Because if you imagine if you're worth $100 million, you're that much more busy than you were when you're worth $10 million, yet there's all that more complexity to manage at that exact same time. And your CPA is still not talking to your wealth manager, is still never talks to your insurance agent, and you're supposed to keep it all straight and communicate things between each other. It just breaks apart, and any breakage is much more costly at 100 million net worth. It just needs to be centralized at a higher level for it to be a family office.
Okay, and so and on the investor side again, as we talked about last segment, you're writing a book that's almost ready to be released. What's that book about?
That's right. We're publishing that out on capitalraising.com, and again, the ultra creative name of that book is simply Capital Raising, and it's going live here on Amazon just in the next 2 weeks here. But basically, it's just describing our 5-step system for raising capital that really allows you to attract investors instead of having to call 60 weeks a day and hope that a few people answer and you can get them. It's really how to position yourself and attract the investors to you, like you've done with a show or you've done with a book or by speaking publicly. I know that we've spoken in the past. You've spoken at one of my events actually, Mark.
Indeed.
About the success you've had and sharing your expertise and then benefiting from that sharing. And I think it's about that genuine value transfer over and over and over and over again within a niche area that shows that you're someone valuable to work with, that you've honed your craft, you're someone to take seriously.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to that book. I wrote a much shorter book for my smaller audience of real estate flippers and investors called The Insider's Guide to Attracting Private Money. And I did it because I had so many people calling me looking for 100% financing. And I explained to them, look, what you really need to do is go out and find an equity partner. And of course, I had my own little 5 steps. So I'm looking forward to reading your book, Richard, and finding out your 5 steps and adding that to my arsenal to help boost our capital raising game. Next question here. So So, Richard, you've been running the Family Office Club for over a decade now. You're hosting 10 events around the country this year. How have things changed, and how does your community of members identify deal flow and find new co-investors?
Biggest thing that changed is the awareness about family offices. I'll still meet a wealth manager who lives in New York City that doesn't know what a family office is. Or I met face to face with a billionaire here in Miami who had never heard the word family office before. He lives in Manhattan and works in real estate. It still like blows my mind. This is like the world I live in. So it's like you guys, if someone says I've never heard of multifamily or mortgage note or something, I guess. So that's changing. More and more people are hearing about it. The other thing is there's a huge trend towards direct investment. That's like a 2 to 3 year old trend that's really taken hold, and a lot of families are still learning how to make direct investments. And the newest trend that you'll still hear almost nobody talking about is that family offices are being more public about their investments and not being so private, because if they want to get access to the best deal flow and more deal flow, they need to tell the world, like, hey, we exist. We invest only in casinos, so if you have a casino deal, send it to us first, because we actually know what we're doing, and that's all we do. So we're going to be strategic people on your cap table versus just dump capital from a bank or just capital from a wealth management firm that has no expertise to bring to the table. So that's the newest trend, and I see that as very early on, and it's only going to grow.
Well, I applaud you, Richard, in forming the Family Office Club, because I will tell you that you know, so many of these wealthy families are under the radar. Where would you go to meet up with them? And so you've put together an organization that brings together either you know, members of the family office or their representatives, and allows people like Edward and I, who are always raising capital for our various mortgage pool funds, to go there. And so again, tell the audience for more information. How can they find out more about your organization and join the Family Office Club?
The best way to find out about the charter membership join is just to go to familyoffices.com, and there's a membership option at the top. Or if you are one of those people that sold their business and is worth, you know, $50 million or $100 million after you invest with Mark, then you can visit our website at singlefamilyoffices.com. And that's the work we do for helping people create their family office, formalize it, and get access to better deal flow. I know it's a minority of listeners out there in total, but it is fun work that we do with those families, because they're the most, you know, they're the winners in capitalism, and so it's exciting to see what they're doing, you know, in action.
That's great. So Richard Wilson, familyoffices.com. That's familyoffices.plural.com for more information about how you can approach super wealthy families for your investment strategy.
Richard, thank you again for joining us on the Best of Investing.
Thank you, again.
All right. Okay.
Awesome.
So
That was great stuff.
That was really good stuff. Okay, so before we go to our commercial break, quick note here for those of you who want to visit San Francisco's legendary Alcatraz Island. Planning ahead is a must. Check out www.alcatrazcruises.com. They have the lowest guaranteed prices. Okay, last trivia question we have is, in what city was the first U.S. Mint opened? All right, don't touch that dial. The Best of Investing will be right back. Perfect. That was good.
Yeah, that was excellent. I like it.
Seems like a pretty good guy.
Yeah, he does. I didn't get a chance to read Nom's questions that he shot to you.
Lockup period.
Oh,
That would be pretty easy.
yeah, that's good.
Susan Thompson, the banker who went to the event.
Yeah.
I went to, I go to the monthly mortgage brokers thing, and so there's probably 80 of us at this thing, and so she used her time to plug us.
Oh, nice.
She goes, yeah, I went to this event with Edward she said Edward's event,
Of course.
And
That's fine.
she goes, yeah, they, very stellar, blah, 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 blah. So it was really very, very nice for her to do that.
That's great.
Okay, so we'll get, let's
do
go right to your email, and then you
Yeah, let's do email. Yeah.
because then also with Deals of the Week and all that stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, ready? Here we go. Well, welcome back to the Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt. Last trivia question was, in what city was the first U.S. Mint opened?
San Francisco?
No, Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. That's my next.
That was your next one. That was Ben
Yeah.
Franklin and all that. Okay, I want to make a quick mention here for the Mount View Hotel and Spa in beautiful Calistoga, celebrating Napa Valley's Cabernet season with a special getaway experience. One night stay in Winery Suite, wine tasting, couples massage. I mean, they got everything there. Check them out at mountviewhotel.com. If you use the promo code CS-T, you'll see what kind of great services they can provide for you. Okay, so Mark, we got an email from a listener that says, what does the term lockup mean with respect to investing in a real estate fund? Does this mean I can't get my investment out, or what is the cost to get it?
So lockup is a term used in basically any syndication of money. When you're raising capital for an investment endeavor, whether, there are people out there, for example, that raise capital to invest in real estate, and they raise money from private individuals like you and I. At the Pacific Private Money Fund, we raise capital from private individuals throughout the Bay Area, in fact, throughout California, to make mortgage secured loans. And so these syndications are created by attorneys. There's a certain registration process, and there are certain guidelines, and there are ways you can create these syndications either at the state level or at the federal level, and they have many things in common. And one of them is a lockup period. Now, I'm not an attorney, but I am aware that most syndications, in fact, depending on how you what regulation you form the syndication under, it's actually required that there be a minimum lockup period for those funds where you cannot take your money out without some form of penalty. And my understanding is the minimum period is 1 year. And now you might have come across different types of capital syndications where they tell you that the minimum investment period is 2 years or 3 years or 5 years. I saw one, somebody raising capital for a mortgage syndication very similar to what we do at Pacific Private Money, and they had a 7-year lockup. And I thought, man, that's just... So in fact, interesting thing is when we first formed the Pacific Private Money Fund in 2013, we launched it with a 24-month or a 2-year lockup period. Basically what that meant was if you keep your money in for at least 2 years, there's no fee going in and no fee going out. There's no fee for redemption after 2 years. We've since changed that to 1 year, and the reason is that our experience is, people aren't treating it like a short-term investment. Our investors have been very happy, and so our lockup period has gone from 2 years as of January 1st of this year, from 2 years down to 1 year, and we just launched another fund, and we're starting that one with also just a 1 year, not a long-term commitment. But really the reason for a lockup period from the fund manager's perspective is that they want to know that they can count on that capital for a certain period of time. And the longer term that the capital is being used, let's say it's the purpose of the capital raise in this particular syndication is to buy an apartment building or buy a series of apartment buildings and hold them for a 5-year period and then sell them and then liquidate and distribute the profits. Well, then in that one that they might ask for a 5-year lockout or maybe a 3-year lockout period because, again, they don't have the liquidity to pay you down. So one of the things you want to look at whenever you're considering making an investment, an alternative investment into some sort of fund or syndication, is you do want to understand the lockup period. What is the minimum investment period that you need to keep it in before you can redeem without a penalty? But you also want to find out about, you want to understand their investment strategy, because if liquidity is not inherent in their investment strategy, even if they don't have a long lockup period, you might find that it might take you several months or even longer to get your money out when you make a redemption request because of the nature of how they use your money.
Yeah, there's
no
guarantee on
Right. So, for example, if at Pacific Private Money, if we were in the business of making longer-term loans, say 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, if we had a portfolio full of 5, 7, and 10-year loans on a $25 million portfolio, and somebody wanted to get their money out, we would have to wait for a loan to pay off. But as it stands at Pacific Private Money, we actually specialize in making short-term loans. Our loans are generally paid off within a year, sometimes as early as 3, 6, 9 months. Our most popular loan product is a bridge loan. It's just, hey, we need fast funding to secure this property, and then we're going to either sell it or refinance conventionally. Can you help us? And of course we can.
Yeah, and since the borrower doesn't have any prepayment penalties, they can pay it off as soon as they can.
Right. So our fund happens to be designed to be a relatively liquid fund. So every month, the fund's been in existence for just under 4 years. We have redemption requests every month, and in fact, we're typically able to redeem generally within a couple of weeks because of the liquidity nature of our fund. So again, for more information or to discuss alternative investments, note investing, mortgage fund investing, for more information about that in general, we've been doing syndications at Pacific Private Money now for the better part of 5 years. We've just launched the 4th fund that we've managed at Pacific Private Money. For more information about that, give us a call at 415-883-2150, or go to our website, which is simply pacificprivatemoney.com.
Yeah, you're paying a little over 7.8%. Who wants to redeem their money?
Well, and that's just it. And we're very responsive. We're very communicative. I do a monthly member shareholder newsletter that I put out, that I write myself and put out every month. And the members, they appreciate that. We've got over 100 members in the fund right now, and in fact, we did a really nice fund event last week where over 120 people showed up. And many of them brought guests, which was the goal of that. Yeah. We want to raise more capital, and so we've had a little bit of a bump in our capital raise this past week. But it's really we also use that fund event to announce the opportunity to invest in our newest fund called the Sirius Pacific Fund. And this one is a little bit different. Our first fund is beautiful in its simplicity. Non-leveraged fund, just one class of investor. We make conservative loans, and it pays out, in last year our payout was 7.8%. We're trying to hit a target rate of 8% this year, but we'll see how close we get to that. The new fund has a little bit more of a strategy for for paying out higher yields. It's designed to pay out about a 10% yield as our target, and this one is going to be doing construction and rehab loans, as well as some fund-to-fund investments with some known fund managers that we know of in other states who are paying higher yields. And so, again, just for more information, give us a call. We're really excited about this fund. We think we're going to be, it's basically designed where the more you invest, the higher a percentage of the fund income gets distributed to you.
And it's not going to compete with the existing.
No, it's not designed to. It's really the type of things we're going to do. We're going to do a mixture of construction and rehab loans, as well as some equity joint ventures with some of our better clients. We're going to cherry pick the best opportunities. And again, we're going to continue to employ the safety and security features that we've always employed at Pacific Private Money for this type of investment. So again, for more information, go to our website and contact us, and we'll send you a prospectus.
And when we come back, we're going to ask you for Deal of the Week, and you'll explain why you can provide such a high yield.
All right.
Make a quick mention here for the Grape Leaf Inn, located in beautiful Healdsburg. The Grape Leaf Inn has a gracious hospitality in a country inn setting with meticulous service, fine cuisine, luxury of jacuzzi tubs, fireplaces, and after doing tasting at any one of the Wilson Artisan Wineries, unwind in the Speakeasy, a Prohibition-era underground bar. Call 707-395-0929 or visit them online at www.grapeleafinn.com. Don't touch that dial. The best investing. We'll be right back. That's okay. All right.
How many do we have? Are we still 510 on the last
510,
one?
yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me just clear my head for a sec. Deal of
Sure.
the week. Just I don't have the particular. There's a couple of ones I'm blending two deals together in my head. I can't remember exactly the specifics of it, but I'll just
Thank you, the generic.
yeah, I'm gonna be.
That's fine. Okay. I'm gonna make mention here. Get that. Quick little shot. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Edward Brown here, along with Mark Monk. Before we get started again, I want to make a quick little shout out mention here to Precor Fitness in San Rafael. Gloria was very nice to me, and she'll treat you well too. Check them out at Precor Fitness in San Rafael. Also, don't forget, check out Beach Blanket Babylon in San Francisco. It's a fun time all around. Okay, so Mark, tell the audience, like a deal of the week, how are you able to produce such a high yield for the clients?
So a lot of companies like Pacific Private Money, when people think of a hard money lender or private money lender, oftentimes they think of fix and flip. That was such a popular loan product in 2012, 13, 14. It's a declining loan product for us at Pacific Private Money because there's just not as many opportunities to buy fix and flip real estate as there were during the kind of the foreclosure heyday, if you want to call it that. So that's one type of loan. Another type of loan that we do is we refer to it as a bridge loan. We're one of the few companies that provide short-term loans for people buying a home that they're going to live in, known as owner-occupied. Because of new regulations, Dodd-Frank regulations, et cetera, many private lenders stay away from anything owner-occupied or consumer purpose in nature and focus only on the investment and business purpose lending on residences that will be non-owner occupied or small commercial or multifamily, things of that nature. That's a growing product for us at Pacific Private Money is people who, for one reason or another, their bank financing won't come through or won't come through in time, or something possibly glitched with their credit. We've had that happen a lot where credit scores dropped during the 30 or 45 day process of applying for a mortgage, and yet they've got a property in contract and maybe the deposit has gone non-refundable, and now it's okay, well, now what do we do? So that's where we step in at Pacific Private Money and provide a short-term, fast closing, fast qualifying, no fuss, no muss bridge loan to help people acquire property. Those loans have no prepayment penalty, so you can pay us back in 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, however long it takes for them to fix whatever the glitch was. And again, sometimes it's just time. Sometimes you run out of time. The seller refuses to do yet another extension, and again, you want the property. So another one that happened this past week is parents died, and the siblings decided they wanted to. One sibling wanted to buy out another sibling from the family trust that became the beneficiary of that property after the parents died. And so that's a thing that oftentimes banks won't do. And again, I'm not really sure why they don't do that, but it's kind of outside the realm of a simple purchase or refinance. And again, we like those probate type of situations where maybe they need money to borrow against real estate held in a trust. And they want to remodel it to sell it at a profit for the beneficiaries, all kinds of stuff like that. So, but getting to the mechanics and the economics of the deal, how we can pay 8% to our investors is because for the short-term use of our money, for the quick closing, easy to qualify, we're very holistic in the way we approach it. If we like your story and we like the collateral and we believe that you have a viable way to pay us off, we call that the exit strategy. We will make you an offer, and oftentimes that loan rate is somewhere right around 10%. 9.9 is a very famous note rate in our office, very common note rate, I should say, and 2 to 3 points depending on the loan size and the complexity. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. It really kind of depends. Again, we're very, very holistic in both our approach and our pricing. We don't have a pricing grid. We really just look at, what's the story, where's the stress, do we need to encumber more than one property? Are you looking for 100% financing to acquire the target property? Do you have other properties? So for more information, give us a call, 415-883-2150. But go to our website, pacificprivatemoney.com. That's the easiest way to find out more about how we can help.
Very good. Your going to cut out for today. Here's our thoughts for the day. Dale Earnhardt said, "You win some, you lose some, and you wreck some." And Dimitri Martin, I'm not sure who that is, but he said, "I used to play sports. Then I realized you can buy trophies. Now I'm good at everything." All right.
Nice.
Tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away more free prizes for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing. So long. Good. Perfect time.
It's a wrap. So, Super Bowl.